All right, the Krug Show back with you on a Sunday morning as we go impromptu live. Lots of Niner news, lots of draft news, lots of football news. We hit it right here. Happy March the 9th. Let's go, Krug Show. Hope you're with us. Yeah. If we fire the close instead of the open, that's a mistake. All right, we're off and running. It's the Krug Show. Happy March the 9th. Happy Sunday. Free agency news gets rolling tomorrow in earnest. Wednesday, it kicks off officially. What will the 49ers do in free agency? We'll talk about it. Of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Also this month, we have Claw Daddy Arcades sponsored our trip to spring training and is our sponsor in the month of March. They've got great arcades in Southern California. They got spots in Fresno, Modesto. They got a new location coming in the Bay Area. So check them out on Instagram at claw_daddy_arcades and find a location near you. And we're, of course, brought to you by our friends as well at Learn Key Upskill Academy. The show is sponsored by Learn Keys Upskill Academy, which is an online learning platform designed to get you job ready. That's right. For some of you who might be between jobs, or maybe you're unemployed, maybe you're underemployed, maybe you just don't like the job you're in and you want to change. So you should check this out. Basically it's an online learning platform designed to get you job ready in 6 months or less. Whether you're interested in IT, cybersecurity, marketing, or another high demand field, they offer over 30 different certification programs to help you take that next step in your career. Don't put it off. Do it today. 37 years they've been in the business. Over 200,000 students they're currently working with. Over 100 students are placed in new paying jobs every single year. Check it out. I think you can benefit. Learn Keys Upskill Academy. I think you'll be glad that you did. All right, let's talk a little bit about the stories of the day in 49er land. Now, there's a bunch. So we woke up this morning with people quoting Tim Kawakami, who's in the SF Standard. Tim's reporting this offseason has been strong. He chimes in today on the Joey Bosa. According to Tim Kawakami, the 49ers are having good conversations with Joey Bosa, and it, quote, feels like it's headed towards a deal. The Bosa brothers, according to this report, would definitely want to play together. It's something that I think we already knew. And Tim's uttering exactly what we, threw out there the other night when it came across that Joey had been released by the Chargers, which is look for him to come to the Niners. Look for him to come to the Niners on a moderate deal with incentives. It doesn't make sense for the Niners to pay $15 million a year for Joey Bosa at this point. But if you want to come on a short-term, moderate deal, I'm thinking, $5 to $8 million in that range, maybe 10 at the high, maybe a 2-year deal with some incentives that could take the deal up a little higher, over 12. But that's about it. I mean, it's a take it or leave it situation. The Niners are he's not at a point in his career where he needs to hit the financial mother load. And the Niners aren't in the point in their cap where they're ready to pay Joey anything real significant. So it sounds like we may get a reunion of the Bosa brothers, which is something they haven't had since St. Thomas Aquinas High School in Florida. But according to Tim, they're having good conversations with Joey, and it feels like they're headed towards a deal. The Niners are the even money favorite, by the way, to sign Joey Bosa. So we kind of knew that Cheryl Bosa and John Bosa wanted their sons to play together. Cheryl has openly rooted for it the last few years. Now the Chargers made it a possibility, and it sounds like it's on the verge of becoming a reality. So there were a couple other notes on the Bosa front. Also reported by Tim. Tim, way to go. You're hustling. Great to see it. He says Joey Bosa would be a rotation piece for the 49ers. And in the scenario which they sign him and add him, they would most likely keep Leonard Floyd. I like this. Why? Because Leonard Floyd played well for the 49ers last year, and he's a pass rusher. And he's a good pass rusher who always winds up with about 10 sacks a year. And is he older? Yeah, but if you can surround him with some better talent on that defensive line than what they had last year, I think Floyd can give you something. So, how do you get better? You get better by adding good players, but you get worse when you subtract good players. So if you were adding Joey Bosa but subtracting Leonard Floyd, probably not a good move. But if you can add Joey Bosa and keep Leonard Floyd, now you've got more rushers, more veteran rushers. And if you want to get home, add as many, quality rushers inside, outside as humanly possible. In the modern NFL, every guy has got to be a pass rusher. There can't be just some guy who's just out there clogging holes. Everybody's got to have a little pass rush ability. Otherwise, offensive lines don't block you the same. So what I love about Joey Bosa is Joey Bosa can play inside on passing downs. You could have Nick and Joey in the NASCAR package. Joey can play inside. He's really good against the run. PFF gave him the 19th best defensive end grade against the run last year. So he's really good against the run. So, I like this signing if it's at the Niners price, and it sounds like it may be coming in at the Niners price. Now, interestingly enough, Tim also added that he thinks the Niners potentially could go after Joey Bosa and Jonathan Allen. There's been a lot of talk that Jonathan Allen, who was a guy that the 49ers coveted in the Debo trade, but ultimately decided to pass on Jonathan Allen. Well, Jonathan Allen was cut loose by the Commanders, which was probably a smart move for the Niners not to trade for him. And now they can go sign him. And Jonathan Allen had a bad year last year with a torn pec, but if he's healthy, he's been one of the most consistent interior defensive linemen in the sport. So, I want to see the Niners get real active in the draft on the defensive front because there's so many good players. Defensive tackles, very, very. It's a great year for defensive tackles. It's a really good year for defensive ends. They've already shown some interest in Oluwafemi Oladejo. There's a lot of rumors that the Niners may draft Oladejo in the second round. So if you could add Joey Bosa to Nick Bosa, keep Leonard Floyd, and possibly add an Oladejo, now you're cooking. If you can add Jonathan Allen up front to what you have, maybe, they're not that far away. So these are all good notes. Now, Myles Garrett signed today. So the Myles Garrett dream for a lot of you comes to an end. He signed a new deal with the Browns. So much for he refused to meet with Jimmy Haslam, the owner. So much for, he didn't sign. He's a principled man who doesn't want to sign in Cleveland because Deshaun Watson was booed by the Cleveland fans in the dog pound. It's funny how you give a guy enough money and suddenly he forgets about all those issues. He gets a $40 million a year deal. All these people were like, the Niners need to get him and just get him on a sweetheart of a deal. Trade nothing for him. And, people are like, give him the 11th pick and then sign him to a really, reasonable deal. It's like, yeah, right. He signed a $40 million a year deal, $40 million average annual value, $123.5 million in total guarantees. So there you go. For those who are like, get Myles Garrett, get him cheap, get him now. Get him for trade nothing for him and then don't pay him much. That's kind of hard when Andrew Berry, the general manager, is like, we will not be trading him. I want to be traded. I will not play here. We will not be trading you. Oh, in that case, pay me. Oh, here's $40 million a year and $123.5 million in guarantees. How's that? Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Sounds like I'll stay. I've changed my mind about the fans of the dog pound. I've changed my mind. I will take that meeting. You know what? After all, I will take that meeting with Jimmy Haslam. Tell him to bring his checkbook. So Myles Garrett's a Brown, and he's not going anywhere. On another note, late breaking note, just before we decided to go live here, the Lions have released Za'Darius Smith. And Za'Darius Smith, who's been in Green Bay, now he's been in Detroit, and he's been pretty good almost everywhere he's been. He's been in Cleveland. He's been around. He's been on a number of teams, but he's out there. He's another veteran pass rusher who's scheme versatile. You want to play him in a 3-4 as an outside linebacker? He can do it. You want to put him as a down lineman in a 4-3? He can do it. You want him to be a wide 9 defensive end? He can do that. I mean, Za'Darius is very scheme versatile, I think. And I think the Niners could add him if they wanted to make a big play for him. Couple other notes of interest. Albert Breer. Today, by the way, the Chiefs signed Nick Bolton. They keep him off the free agent market. That was a great signing by Kansas City. It's 3 years, $45 million. So that gives you a little indication of what we're talking about as far as, the inside linebacker market. I mean, that's the top of the market. I believe it. 3 years, $45 million, $15 million a year for Nick Bolton. Albert Breer is reporting that Dre Greenlaw would like a deal that's kind of like the Derek Barnes deal, the former Purdue linebacker just signed, which was 3 years, $25.5 million, which, I don't have a problem with the AAV. I mean, you're talking about $8.5 million a year, roughly, a little bit over $8 million. I think that's probably, right around the price tag, 7, 6, 7, 8, 9 in that range. I mean, it's a big range, but when you're talking about Dre Greenlaw, to me, it's not I wouldn't want to give him the Derek Barnes deal, but I have no problem giving him $8.5 million AAV. I just rather do it on a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal. How about 1 year for $9 million, or how about 2 years for $17 million or something like that, or $18 million? With a guarantee, some kind of a guarantee in there of some amount. But I think when you look at that Derek Barnes contract, I don't look at that and go, up, Greenlaw's gone, because okay, Derek Barnes is a young player. He's also healthy. It's one thing to give a healthy player a 3-year deal. To give a player that only played 34 snaps last year a 3-year deal is probably, I would say there may not be a team out there that's going to do that. If the Niners could get Greenlaw in that same range, but in a 1 or 2 year deal, I think they should do it. And hopefully they'll be able to come to some kind of common ground. There's those who are reporting that Dre's going to be gone, and I'm just holding out hope that that's not the case. I hope somehow he's back. And then the Diana Rossini story, which kind of emanated off of the Jason La Canfora report that the Niners' initial offer to Brock Purdy was $45 million a year. And a lot of people were like, oh my God, they're insulting Brock, and how insulting, and this and that. I kind of thought that the initial offers would come in around $45 million. I thought that his agent would ask for about $65 million. And that I'll stay with what I've said, which is I think it's going to be a shorter term deal, not a longer term deal. I'm saying $56 million AAV for Brock. He's not going to make 65, but he's not making 45. All right. And I think right in the middle, 55 would be a great, I'm saying 56, but 3 years, $168 million with $100 million guaranteed, something like that. I think that's ultimately what's going to get it done. 3 years, 168, $100 million guaranteed, 56 a year. I think that's fair. I think it's substantial. $100 million guaranteed speaks loudly. We're also, and let's play Dinah Rossini. We'll play the Rossini cut here. Here's Rossini talking a little bit about the $45 million offer with Chase Daniel.
Keeping an eye on the Brock Purdy situation in San Francisco. Remember I kept telling you this was going to be an easy one?
Yeah.
Nothing's easy. Did I not learn? Just
easy from whose standpoint, though?
annoying.
The San Francisco
Because
49ers?
I think it's
or
everybody. I
Purdy?
think everyone is looking at the situation as, Brock deserves top of the market kind of money because that's what the market says. I think the San Francisco 49ers are smart enough to go, well, no, you weren't like a first overall pick.
Do you think it's disrespectful? Because I read online, I don't even know if this is true or not, that
You sound like my mom. I read it online.
yeah, I mean, look, I honestly, I am so like, I believe you, and I believe maybe like a few other people. Like, I just don't just believe everything. But there was something that came out that the starting offer was $45 million a year for Brock Purdy.
That
Do
is
you
false.
think that's disrespectful?
That would be disrespectful, and that did not happen.
Okay.
That's not true.
It didn't happen.
That did not.
Okay.
They did not offer 45 million.
And that's why I don't believe everything I hear.
I will bet my. I don't know I'll bet my phone on it. I was like, what do I have around here that I care about?
You know what's interesting though?
So that's the new, I'll put anything on it. I'll bet my phone on it. I'll bet my phone. So there you go. She'll bet her phone on it. But, basically she's saying that was not the offer, that Lock and Fora's reporting was not accurate. And that, she's suggesting that the offer to Brock Purdy is significantly higher than Lock and Fora was reporting. Either way, I do, I'm going to hold steady with my thought on it, which is what I've said all along, which I think he's going to get. I don't think he's going to get record-setting money. I don't. But I also don't think he's going to take some ridiculous discount. There has been, it's not like there's no starting point here. There has been precedent set. Tua Tagovailoa does make north of $50 million. Trevor Lawrence does make north of $50 million. There are a number of quarterbacks that make north of $50 million. Prescott's at the top right now making $60 million. And I can see why Kyle Strongen may argue for north of $60 million for Brock, but I can also see why the 49ers would like to go a little lower than that. And I think they'll be able to get a deal done. As I said, I think $56 million is right, a perfect spot, maybe 55, but I'll say 3 years, 168 with $100 million guaranteed. I think that's what it's going to come in at. I think it's going to get done too. I don't think it's going to be one of these things that goes on and on and on and on and on. Now, as we're doing this, there is a late breaking story. The 49ers have released Maliek Collins. So Maliek Collins has been a cap casualty. And this guy played well for the 49ers last year. He really did. So it really speaks to, their situation. And there has been some speculation over some, guys who are, on the defensive side. The Niner free agents are Dre Greenlaw, Mooney Ward, Talanoa Hufanga, Kevin Givens, Devondre Campbell, Isaac Yiadom, Rock Ya-Sin, Nick McLeod, Khalil Davis, Curtis Robinson, Tayshaun Gibson. I expect almost all of them to leave. I'm hoping Greenlaw comes back, but Ward's gone, Hufanga's gone, Givens is gone, Campbell has been gone, Yiadom's gone, Rock Ya-Sin's gone. I think Nick McLeod might be brought back as a special teamer. I could see that. Khalil Davis, my guess is he's gone. Tayshaun Gibson gone. I would say the only guys I could see back would be Greenlaw, Nick McLeod, and Curtis Robinson. Robinson's, I think, restricted. I think he's a restricted free agent, which he is. The other guys are unrestricted. So there was speculation that Leonard Floyd and Yetur Gross-Matos would be cap casualties. But it sounds like it might not be Leonard Floyd, and it might be Maliek Collins and Yetur Gross-Matos. But I'll say this, and this, the one thing that is abundantly clear is that the 49ers, who used to have in Super Bowl 54 a young DeForest Buckner and a young Eric Armstead, in this last year tried to get it done with Jordan Elliott and Maliek Collins up front. It's just not good enough. They've regressed too significantly. You need great defensive tackles, or at least active, athletic defensive tackles that can come off blocks when you're playing that wide nine. The whole purpose of the wide nine is you get up the field, You set the defensive ends, get up the field, they put pressure on the quarterback, and they set the edge, and they funnel everything back inside. Well, that only works if your inside linebackers are spectacular and your defensive tackles can come off blocks and make tackles. And if you don't have those kinds of defensive tackles, they can come off of a block and make a tackle in space against a back. You're going to struggle. And the Niners really struggled defensively against the run last year. Because their defensive tackles, they missed Greenlaw badly. Fred got tired. They didn't have Aziz anymore, and their defensive tackle play fell through the floorboards. So, I have no problem moving on from Maliek Collins because I think they needed to upgrade that spot across the board. I think that's definitely a spot that they could use a significant upgrade in. So there you go. Those are the stories of the day. Diana Rossini says, don't believe the Jason Locken for a $45 million initial offer for Brock Purdy. She's willing to bet her phone that it was higher. Kawakami says Nick Bosa or Joey Bosa to the Niners looks like it could be happening. Leonard Floyd will be staying. Jonathan Allen and Bosa may play on the Bosa brothers may play on the same line. Myles Garrett goes back to the Browns. Za'Darius Smith is officially a free agent, cut loose by the Detroit Lions. Albert Breer says Greenlaw wants a Derek Barnes 3-year, $25.5 million deal. I'd rather see the Niners go for a 1 or 2 year deal. Nick Bolton re-signs in Kansas City, 3 years, $45 million. And then we'll finish up with some draft stuff here. And I was doing, what I normally do in April. Or in March, which is, I'm looking at some draft guys the last couple nights, just guys that I really liked, guys who did well at the combine, guys who I need to take another look at. And I was looking at a bunch of guys who are offensive prospects who I think are falling beneath the radar, who I think are going to be really, really good day 3 picks. I mean, really good day 3 picks, or potentially undrafted free agents. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of these guys, and we'll share the screen and show you some of the Twitter files, some of the Twitter stuff out there. Okay, so one of them that I really like, the quarterback that I really like is Riley Leonard. I really like Riley Leonard. I just think Leonard is a solid player. He's just a good player. I mean, he's athletic. He started at Duke. And he's just, to me, I mean, a lot of people say, oh, he doesn't have a good enough arm, but he showed plenty of arm at the combine. He had plenty of arm. And I like this player. I mean, I really do. I think he's a gamer. He can run. He's 6'4". He's athletic. He helped revive Duke's program. He transferred to his dream school. He led them into the national championship game. He played incredibly well. I thought, this guy just is a gamer. I really like Riley Leonard. And I just was watching Riley Leonard. And there's a number of, highlights there, but to me, Riley Leonard is one of my favorite players in the draft. Another guy that I really, really like, and I think he's an unbelievable steal. And I'll share the screen if I can find a video on him. It's Shunderick Powell, the running back return man for Central Arkansas. Now, I'm just going to share the screen on this one. Let me see if I can. There we go. We'll roll this back a little bit. This kid's just very special. He's a small running back with huge, huge speed. Now, granted, Central Arkansas, but see if you can get a feel for this kid's electric speed. I mean, when he gets away, he's just gone. He's got great speed. He's not the biggest back. He's about 180 pounds. He's more of a return guy. He's not an every down back. He's kind of a jack of all trades. You throw him the ball out of the backfield, but look at the explosiveness. Goodbye. Now, granted, it's North Dakota State, so he's running right through North Dakota State. But the speed, the explosiveness, Shunderick Powell. I mean, this guy is something else, man. Really something else. And he just got that extra gear. He's just going to run away. Here he is, taking it to the house, going right by that guy. You're not seeing a lot of people catch this guy from behind. He's got a little pick and slide, hits the hole, and then it's just goodbye. I mean, those guys had angles, and he just took it that was a house call right there. So really like this player a lot. And Shunderick Powell is a guy you guys ought to check out. Really interesting player for sure. 4.8 yards after contact this year, first in the class. 0.42 missed tackles forced per rush, first in the class. 21.6% explosive run rate, first in the class. Now, you got to adjust for the level of competition because he's at, Central Arkansas. But, I mean, the guy is real. The guy's real. Let me show this. This is a rep from the Hula Bowl. And you can just see him catch the ball kind of naturally here. Let's see. We'll take this back, and you guys can see this. Here's Shunderick Powell, the receiver, purple pants in the backfield. Just a little. There you go. Showing some hands. But just a random rep in one of the All-Star game practices. But I really like Shunderick Powell. Home run hitter, really, really, really explosive. Riley Leonard. I mean, these guys are day 3 picks, right? Another guy that I really love on day 3. And, to me, there's, if you can find a good offensive lineman on day 3, you're really beating the game. This is Marcus Ware from Montana State, 6'3", 300-pounder, 39 college games, played 1,854 snaps. He did not give up a sack. And he's the right guard on this film. Over here where the little breaking thing is. There we go. Here we go. We'll roll the tape. Just real solid. Climbs the second level, stays balanced, locks on. Here's right guard. Keeps the legs going, climbs to the second level, drives that guy down. Keeps his shoulders squared. Real strong. I think this is your replacement for Jake Brendel. This is your new Jake Brendel. This guy's tough. He's smart. He'll fight you. He's more of a center. He plays right tackle and right guard at Montana State. But, just wide base, strong. You look really good in the one-on-ones before the All-Star game. Marcus Ware. Remember that name. And he's probably going to be 6th round, 7th round. He may go undrafted, but he is a hell of a player. Marcus Ware. Another guy that I got to show you guys that I just two or three other guys here that I just have to show you guys that I love. One guy is Taj Brooks. I don't know how much you guys know about Taj, but Taj Brooks is really, really good. They say Taj Brooks forced 150 missed tackles over the last 2 years. He's elusive with patience. It's the strength of his game. He made himself some money at the NFL Combine. He ran 4.51 in the 40. He had the best 3-cone. He was 90th percentile in the agility drills, and he had 3,000 rush yards over the last 2 years. And here he is. We'll take some of the audio down, but basically here he is doing some drills, some combine practice drills. Look at the agility, the power. If you watch Taj Brooks, he's a tremendous workhorse of a back. He's just he runs over his pads. He's tremendous power, all kinds of cutting ability, stop and start. The best blocking back in the entire draft is Taj Brooks. Texas Tech, probably gonna, he's a bowling ball back. He's probably gonna be, 5th round, 6th round, 7th round, or undrafted. And he's just, look at this cutting ability. This is an incredibly productive player. This is not a guy who's just like, this is just a guy. No, it's not. This guy's a really, really productive player. workhorse back, very patient, 2 seasons with 1,500 plus yards, 96 forced missed tackles last year, 100 plus rush yards in 19 of 24 games over the last 2 seasons. Somebody said he's going to be a 4th round pick as a steal in the 4th round. I'm thinking more like 5th round, but he's definitely day 3. Definitely day 3. Taj Brooks, one of my favorite players in the draft. Somehow the Niners got to find a way to get Taj Brooks. Another guy that I really love, and to me, this guy's really interesting, and that is the tight end from Auburn, Rivaldo Fairweather. And, this guy's got ridiculously long arms. He didn't even play football until he was in high school, I believe, until I think like junior year in high school. And he's just an amazing talent. I mean, this guy's got long arms. He's really athletic. This is going to be a really, really good draft choice for somebody. Rivaldo Fairweather. He really works on his hands. He looked really good. He catches way outside of his frame. He's probably got the longest arms of any tight end in this draft. And he didn't play football till his junior year in high school, but then fell in love with it. Transferred to Auburn. And he's just been really good. I mean, this guy's, he's 6'3", about 250, had 31 catches this year for 372 yards. He caught a big ball getting in the Cal game to beat them. This is a guy who's 6'2", 6'3", but plays like 6'6" because he's got really long arms. Here he is staying after practice, just catching ball after ball after ball after ball. And there's nobody in this place. And here he is, just one after another, working on the jugs machine, working on his hands. This is what it takes. You want to know what it takes to be great? You got to do this stuff. And this guy's got ridiculous athleticism and body strength and long arms. He's going to be a really good pro. And he's probably going to go undrafted. He's probably going to be in the 7th round. In that range, he's a late day 3 pick. So that's another guy. And the last guy I want to show you is a receiver. People talk a lot and have talked a lot about Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin and all the great players that Lane Kiffin has at Ole Miss. And he does. He's got a lot. And Trey Harris might be one of the best receivers in the entire country. And Juice Wells, the Niners met with Juice Wells, who's also a terrific receiver for Ole Miss. But people are sleeping on this kid, Jordan Watkins. Against Arkansas this year, he had 8 catches for 254 yards and 5 touchdowns. And I'm going to show you some of the film of this game. I watched this game live, and I'm like, Jordan Watkins, this guy must be a star. And realized, and then he ran 4.37 at the combine, and yet they still have him undrafted or in the 7th round. And here he is. He's a smaller receiver. I mean, he's like 6 foot. He's not big. But he's got good hands and good speed, and he runs pretty good routes, and he's underrated. I mean, like, you watch this guy makes plays. Jordan Watkins, 4.37 is what he ran at the combine. And you can see some of that. It's going to be a late round guy, not going to be a high round guy. Rivaldo Fairweather, not going to be Riley Leonard. These guys are not going in the first round. They're not going in the 2nd round. They're probably not going in the 3rd round. They're going late. Matt Mayoko is reporting there are multiple reports that the Niners have released Maliek Collins. Matt says that move is not official yet. The Niners can be expected to first see if there's a team out there willing to make a trade for him. He started all 17 games. He played 67% of the defensive snaps. So, Schefter reported that Maliek Collins is released, and Matt Mayoko saying, no. So I wouldn't be surprised. There's going to be a number of players who are going to be released, and right before they're released, people are going to call around the league, and they're going to say, "Hey, do you want to jump the line for this player? This player's about to be a free agent. Do you want to give us a day 3 pick, 7th round pick, and jump the line and basically make it so you can just have the player?" And some teams will do that if they have a lot of draft capital, if they really feel the need to add a certain player And maybe Maliek Collins is one of those players. As I said, he was good this year. Maliek Collins played well for the Niners. So it's not like, oh my God, get him the hell out of here. He's more of a we can't afford you type of a situation, and it's a really deep defensive tackle draft. So I don't really think it's about Maliek Collins is horrible. It's just a matter of money, and who knows? Maybe they'll be able to find some team that's willing to throw them a pick for Maliek Collins. And he's a good player, and he's not old, and he's coming off a good year. And there might be somebody who says, you know what, we'll give you a 6th or 7th round pick to make sure that we get Maliek Collins and are not just bidding on him. Another guy who was, I'm sure, shopped today before he was released. The Buffalo Bills have released Von Miller in a cap cutting situation. And Von Miller is another guy who, good football player. I mean, future Hall of Famer. What has he got left? I'm sure there were a number of teams that were considering trading for him and then said, we'll just try to sign him as a free agent. So there you go. We do have a couple supers here that we should get to. We got this one from Stockton Slap 209. He says, Joey Bosa, overrated, injury prone, perfect for a last place team like the Winers. Enjoy the basement for a very long time. Gaggers, LOL, 1994. Losers. All right. Doesn't sound like a big Niner fan or a big Joey Bosa fan. First of all, overrated. I could see somebody arguing that. At this point, it's all about his price tag. He's not going to get an elite price tag. Baby radiant. So Nick's going to restructure his contract. Odds are he will. And my guess is that's not surprising that he would consider restructuring for his brother. Invader 49er in the chat says, put Walter Nolan next to Bosa and let's see what's up. Yeah, that'd be a nice one. Walter Nolan. That would be a nice way to start your draft. So there you go. That's pretty much the stories of the day. We got this guy, Foy Daniel, say trade Brock to the New York Giants. I will say this, it sounds like the Brock thing could get pretty testy or pretty contentious. Don't be surprised as we get closer to the draft if you hear the Titans want to trade the first pick in the draft to the Niners. Why? Because I think Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, they're not slam dunks, and the Titans need a quarterback, and they probably are sitting there going, well, do we take those guys? And I think they're going to get nervous between now and draft day, and they're going to say, you know what? Let's trade for Brock Purdy. Let's offer the first pick in the draft for Brock Purdy. Would you take the first pick in the draft for Brock Purdy? I don't think I would. And I like Cam Ward, but it's a risk. I don't think Brock's a risk. I think Cam is a risk. Space Cowboy says, Kev, it's time for you to hold out for more money. Hashtag free Kev. Good stuff. Good stuff. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. Tonight, I will be doing a free agency preview live stream with John Lund. Don't miss that. We got this one as well from Los. Where's Los? Los says, don't forget Kevin Kruger signed his first autograph in Arizona. Witness. Yes. There was a woman who had a baseball, and I said, that's Kev Kruger from YouTube. And she just immediately handed him the ball. Sign it. And then Kev signed it. And then we had him take a picture together. The Krug show. Kev says, I'm holding out. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. All right, that's going to do it for us. Check out John Lund and I tonight around 8 o'clock, 7:30 or 8 o'clock for our free agency preview. We will go live or have a video out if the 49ers do anything on this Sunday of note. I would say, this is the news time. So get ready for more news, more signings, more cuts, more trades, more everything. This is it right here. So free agency begins for real on Wednesday. The rumors begin on Monday. We'll be there for all of it. And starting tonight, we'll preview the entire free agent market. But there you go. A little breakdown of the stories of the day in Ninerland and some day 3 offensive players that I think could absolutely be the steals of this upcoming draft. All right, that does it for us. Thanks to all of you for supporting the Krug Show. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corners, Sports Cards and Collectibles as well. Check them out in Pacific Grove, California. Anthony Catania is at 831-521-5264. Thanks to Claudaddy Arcades. Thanks to LearnKey Upskill Academy. All the links are in the description below. Thanks to all of you, and until next time, peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you won't get exactly what you ask.